The mysterious disappearance of Brian Shaffer, a vanishing without a trace. It was a cool spring night on April 1st, 2006, in Columbus, Ohio. College students filled the streets, celebrating the start of spring break. Among them was 27-year-old Brian Shaffer, a medical student at the Ohio State University. Brian was known as a bright and charismatic young man. He had dreams of becoming a doctor and was deeply in love with his girlfriend, Alexis Wagoner. The two had plans to travel together that weekend, and Alexis was expecting Brian to meet her the next morning, but Brian would never show up. That evening, Brian went out with his best friend Clint Florence to a popular bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona, located in the South Campus Gateway area. They drank, laughed, and bar hopped around the neighborhood, enjoying the start of their break. Around 1:15 a.m., they returned to the Ugly Tuna for one last round. Inside the bar, surveillance cameras recorded Brian talking and laughing with some women near the entrance. At 1:55 a.m., the cameras caught him stepping slightly outside of the bar. Then, he was gone. When the bar closed at 2 a.m., patrons poured out into the streets. Clint and their friend Meredith, who had joined them earlier, waited for Brian, but he never came out. Assuming he had gone home on his own, they left. By the next morning, Alexis was calling Brian repeatedly, but he never answered. When he missed their planned trip, she knew something was wrong. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, called the police, and the search began immediately. The first major clue was the surveillance footage from the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The cameras had recorded Brian entering the bar, but there was no footage of him leaving. How could someone disappear from a bar with only one exit? Police searched every inch of the building. They checked back hallways, emergency exits, even the rooftop. Nothing. The bar was located on the second floor of a building, and the only known way out was through the main entrance, which was covered by cameras. There was a possible back exit leading to a construction site, but it was dangerous and blocked off. Even if Brian had tried to leave that way, there was no sign of him. Weeks turned into months. The city was searched. Rivers and abandoned buildings were checked. Flyers were posted everywhere. There was no trace of Brian Shaffer. Some believed he might have walked away from his life, but this didn't make sense. He had been planning a future with Alexis and was doing well in medical school. Others thought he could have been a victim of foul play, but no evidence ever surfaced. Even stranger, his cell phone remained active for weeks after he vanished. At one point, when Alexis called, it rang 3 times before going to voicemail, a sign that it was still powered on. But no one ever answered. Brian's father, Randy, never stopped searching for his son. Sadly, he passed away in 2008 without ever knowing what happened to Brian. To this day, Brian Shaffer's disappearance remains one of the strangest missing person cases in modern history. How does someone simply vanish from a bar with no sign of where they went? No one knows for sure, but one thing is certain: Brian Shaffer walked into the Ugly Tuna Saloona that night, and he was never seen again. That's it for today. If you liked this, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let me know what you think in the comments.